Hi y'all, welcome back to the channel for another weekly horoscope. This is for the week of May 5th. I'm so excited about this week because I really feel like it's all coming together. Truly, this is where you start to feel like your new life is loading. I talked about this in my weekly update that I did on TikTok with my Astro board. If you haven't seen it, link is in the description. I will also put the link in the pinned comment after the live is posted because right now I'm recording this live. Let me open up the chat so I can see y'all's messages too. And yeah, I mean, like I said, this is the week where things really start to come together in the ways we've been anticipating, desiring, wondering where the fuck everything is or why it hasn't happened yet for the last 6 months. Probably since the end of last year, right? This is when things really start to load and we start to see it all coming together, and especially feeling it more so energetically. Even if we don't start to see fully yet it in the physical, we are definitely feeling it energetically. Like things are shifting. I literally feel like I'm in a new timeline and I'm like, wait, I feel so spacey. I feel like I'm forgetting things. I feel like I'm like, wait, like I feel not like I'm in a liminal space anymore. I don't even know how to articulate it. It's a really weird feeling. It's like I'm very much in this etheric transition, is the best way I can describe it. So to sum up this week before we get into the horoscopes, we have Mercury going into Taurus this week. Thank God. My Mercury's in Taurus, and I know I'm really gonna appreciate Mercury moving back into Taurus. But before it does, it will go over Chiron. So there's gonna be a finality, a final closing out, healing of wounds, triggers around our communication, our styles, or our mindset, or things that are just kind of left over residually from the old life in our minds. There will be a lot of opportunity for healing that this week. We're also going to have the moon opposite that later in the week. The moon will be in Libra later in the week, so it will be opposite all of that stuff, kind of really putting tension on it. We're going to have then later this weekend, when the moon moves into Scorpio, it will be adding friction to Pluto and Mercury and Taurus. So we're going to have another square between the fixed signs. So there will be some challenges. There will be some friction this week, but it's going to like propel you to make the changes you need in order to really fully have the new chapter and really like start to step into it. Because that's what this week feels like. It's like, oh, it's literally like loading. Like there's been a lag and now we're all seeing it load. I want to add something too about Pluto retrograde because I've had a lot of questions about this. Pluto goes retrograde every single year at this same time. It's really not a big deal. We really don't feel the effects of Pluto on a daily basis. The effects of Pluto start to feel like our normal life. They are big, zoomed out themes. Pluto moves the slowest of all the planets. So it is not things that affect us on a daily basis. That's why for daily transits, I teach this in my Become an Astrologer course, we look at the movements of the moon because those are what affect us on a daily basis. And we also can look at I love that the light is coming out right now. The sun is coming out right now as I'm talking about this. We look at Mercury, we look at Venus, we look at the sun, we look at where things are like that are going to affect us shifting more so on a daily basis, that shift faster than the outer planets do, like Pluto, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, right? And yes, we're going to feel certain shifts, like we felt the shift from Pluto into Aquarius, and they're really in this big transition. But the retrograde, it really doesn't matter that much. We are going to reflect on how Pluto moving into Aquarius has been showing up for us, of course, but it's going to be a long-term theme of the next 6 months. And I feel like too, like this is where we really start to see those of us that have this retrograde in our chart, how it affects us, because I feel like I really thrive when Pluto is retrograde because I have that natally. I was born at the end of April. So if you were born at the end of April, from the end of April, early May until October, November, you probably have Pluto retrograde natally. And so you feel more like yourself when Pluto is retrograde. And I have really been noticing that theme since I just had that insight and download of like, oh, like I have this retrograde. So like, no wonder when it's retrograde, I feel like I thrive better. I feel like more myself. So we, those of us that have that natally in our chart have that to look forward to too. And now that Pluto is going retrograde today, let me see the exact time actually. It's station retrograde this morning, like 9:30 a.m. my time. So it's already retrograde as we speak. And yeah, to sum that up, it's really not a big deal. Don't overthink it. Okay. South node's in Virgo. South node's a tricky bitch. Don't overthink anything right now. Surrender the mind to your intuition. Surrender the mind to what you can come back to and be grateful for and focus on in the present moment. Right now I'm focused on this video. And when I'm done with this video, I'm gonna go for a hike out in nature, right? Like I'm not giving myself space or time to overthink things because that's not helpful right now. That's our distraction right now, right? I just posted a video about this on my channel. I think on Thursday is when it posted about the South Node being Virgo and the North Node being in Pisces and how those general themes, and I went deeper on this in a class in my membership, those general themes are really here to teach us how to trust our intuition and trust in the unknown more than the logical monkey mind brain. So just that's a huge reminder this week as well, as we're going to have the moon moving into Virgo pretty soon, early in the week, and it's going to amplify that theme, right? So just remember that this week. So let's get into the weekly horoscopes. Hi, Shadows. Happy Sunday. It's a new week. Okay, we start the week off for you, Aries Rising. The week begins with the moon in your fifth house. So you might have been feeling more creative at the start of the week, more like taking action on things that are of a creative pursuit or things that really bring you joy. And then as the moon moves into Virgo later on Monday, and then it will be there for Tuesday and into Wednesday, the focus is going to be on getting out of your mind and taking action on things in your work or in your career, or focusing on your health maybe too, mental health as well, like your spirituality too, maybe a focus, especially on Wednesday as the moon moves over the South Node in Virgo. You may feel like releasing an outdated habit or pattern within your work or within your health or your day-to-day kind of routine, when it comes to what is actually going to help you take care of you. And then on Wednesday as well, there might be a big identity shift that comes up through a trigger to look at in terms of your sense of self, your self-worth, your appearance maybe, and your identity. It might even be all tied into that focus on your mental and physical health. Then on Thursday, the moon's going to move into your seventh house. You'll be emotionally focused on your relationships, on other people in your life. There might be a trigger that comes up on Saturday, Friday or Saturday, that brings back around that wound, that whatever came up on Wednesday around your identity, your appearance, your sense of self. That might be further triggered by somebody in your life over the weekend, or it could be a stranger. I mean, it doesn't have to be someone you're close with, but it is somebody in your life that's not you. And it comes up in maybe an emotional way for you to really look at that and to further just clear out any wounds that are still there through triggers. I mean, that's what triggers really are. So it's going to propel you into a new version of you and heal any residual things that are lingering, preventing you from stepping into that. Then on Sunday, later on Saturday and into Sunday, the moon is moving into your eighth house in Scorpio. Mercury is now in your second house. So there might be a really big focus later in the weekend on your money and on your resources and what you're doing to make it, what you're doing with it, how you're investing it, how you're spending it, how you're saving it. Like really, what do you want to be doing with your money? There could be a big focus on that too. It could come down to you transforming some relationship you have with community, showing up, being seen in your community or on social media, really starting to put yourself out there, relinquishing any wounds or triggers or limiting beliefs that are stopping you from doing what you love, and sharing it with the world and being seen for it, because it feels like it could really get you paid. And you might realize that this weekend. So that's the week for you, Aries. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I will see you next week. Okay, Taurus Rising. We start the week off with the moon in your fourth house. So you might be really focused on family at the beginning of the week, really on your home, organizing things in your home, or just kind of hermiting a little bit. And then as the moon moves into your fifth house on Tuesday, you will be more focused on creative ventures, what you're sharing, maybe romance, maybe children, if that applies, but you might be focused on organizing a creative passion or pursuit, or just like scheduling time to focus on romance or to focus on things that really matter to you, and get out of your head a little bit too, like what helps you to get out of your head, maybe something to do with working with your hands, doing crafts, painting, knitting, something that just like helps you to release any mental chatter that you realize is not serving you. And then on Wednesday, that could be amplified as the moon moves over the South Node. There could be a big release of something in the mental space, or you could just be really, have a download or an insight through meditation or something spiritual, of realizing a trigger or something that is still there, kind of in your mental space, in your mindset that maybe hasn't been serving you. And it's like it comes up for you to like realize like, oh, this has been really affecting me and I need to really heal it. I need to release it and move forward. Then on Thursday, the moon moves into your sixth house. You could be really focused on work or health, day-to-day stuff, maybe meal prepping or something like that. Just really focused on like, okay, how can I take better care of my mental and physical health? Maybe related to that trigger, that wound that came up. Then on Friday, there could be, Friday and Saturday, there could be some friction around that. There could be some realization that comes up in your day-to-day, or something that comes up in your health that you're like, oh, I really need to like set time aside for this. I really need to pencil this in, schedule it in, get a routine down, because I can no longer keep doing what I have been doing and the ways that I've been doing it. Like something needs to change here. And then on later on Saturday and into Sunday, you might be focused on your relationships. You might be focused on this really big transformation in terms of your home, your identity, your career, your sense of self. It could be something that's unexpected, something that is related to that trigger, that wound that came up earlier in the week, and you're integrating it, you're embodying it, you're moving forward with like the healed version of it. As Mercury moves into your first house, you could be feeling more expressive. You could be feeling, like I said, a lot more embodied in what you have been reevaluating or assessing or changing about yourself. And there might be someone in your life that reflects that back to you, and you might move forward with it in your career in some way, or in your home life or your family life, or both. So that's the week for you, Taurus. Let me know how that resonates, and I'll see you next week. Okay, Gemini, we start the week off with the moon in your third house. You could be feeling more expressive, more like sharing your creativity or passions online or with people, or socializing in new ways, or just like feeling more playful when it comes to all of that kind of stuff earlier in the week. Then as the moon moves into your fourth house, you could be decluttering. Tuesday and Wednesday, you could be really, especially on Wednesday, as the moon moves over the south node, you could be really like releasing a lot of physical possessions in your home, or some shift happens within your family, or within your home altogether. It's like, okay, we really need to move, or we really need to organize this, or we need to like, it feels like there's some need to release something big that is directly related to your sense of self, how you've been expanding your identity or your appearance. That might also tie in your career as well. And it could be like you have some help from somebody in your life to make that happen. That comes through maybe kind of unexpectedly. It feels like a little magical. Let me know how that resonates, Gemini, in the comments, because that's pretty specific. I feel like there's going to be some like miracle or something that comes through that you didn't expect from somebody in your life. Then on Thursday, the moon moves into your fifth house. So again, you might just be feeling a lot more creatively expressive. You might be feeling like you're really focused this week on, putting time into organizing and having a solid foundation so you can share your creative passions in the ways that you want to, and really transform how you're seen, how you're showing up in terms of your community, shifting any mindset or, patterns that have been just maybe old wounds or triggers that are still kind of residually there in the background. You're like being made aware of them so you can heal them, so you can move forward, and not take those with you into this new chapter. Then on Saturday, the moon moves into your sixth house later in the day. Mercury moves into your 12th house. So again, you could be really focused on sharing your ideas, especially of a creative or a spiritual nature, or of a transformative nature, especially as the moon and Scorpio is moving through your sixth house. You're focused on, okay, what am I doing on a daily basis to transform others and transform myself through the work that I'm doing. So there's a really big shift of your mindset and how you're showing up related to that this week that will kind of come together and solidify over the weekend. So that's the week ahead for you, Gemini. Let me know how that resonates, and I'll see you next week. All right, Cancer Rising. We start the week off with the moon in your second house. You could be really focused on money earlier in the week, organizing it, sharing some creative passion or something that brings you joy that is going to make you money in ways you maybe didn't expect, like a side hustle or something like that. And then on Tuesday, the moon moves into your third house. You could be really organizing running errands, organizing your day-to-day kind of stuff. Maybe organizing like things to do with people who live near you. I don't know how that applies. It just feels like there's big organization. And can y'all hear that siren? I feel like that's a sign. And then there could be some release around that, like releasing something you were doing on a daily or weekly basis that you just no longer resonates with you. That could happen on Wednesday as the moon moves over the south node in your third house. There could also be a big release of a communication thing or a mindset thing, or a philosophy of life, a belief system that you realize like, oh, this really wasn't serving me. This hasn't been serving me. How can I release this and really like give it to God or give it to the universe, whatever you believe in, and surrender it from myself because it really doesn't serve me, and I need to let it go on Wednesday. There could be a really big shift around that, especially maybe as it relates to your career and standing up for yourself and your career in some ways, or asserting boundaries in some ways. Really just embodying some new version of you there, and having a new beginning because of that. Then on Thursday, the moon moves into your fourth house. You could be more focused on your home life, your family, but that could come at odds with your career. Like, career maybe feels like super busy, and you're like having to set boundaries around it so you can like focus on things that actually matter to you and have like downtime and space to clean your home, to make it beautiful, to feel like to enjoy your beautiful space maybe as well. That could come to a head later in the day on Friday, as the moon is opposite all that's in your 10th house, the Chiron Mercury conjunction in your 10th house to be more specific. It could feel like, again, there's like this kind of tug of war between your alone time, your internal states, and your, what's going on in your career and your public, with your public image. Could come to a head either later in the day on Friday or Saturday morning, and then Mercury moves into your 11th house. So you could be feeling more expressive with your community. You could be really feeling like sharing more, working with your hands more, going to knitting clubs or groups or things that allow you to be more crafty, or do things like that feel really good to you that's not related to like some external reward or anything like that. It's just you're doing it because you love it. Then on Sunday, later on Saturday and into Sunday, you'll probably be feeling a lot more creatively expressive. But there could be, again, some kind of tug of war between that and your finances of like, oh, I really wanted to do this just for me, but people are asking to buy it from me. People are asking for me to do custom things for them or whatever it is. And it's kind of like the universe is like, yeah, you thought this was just for you, but other people want it. And like, this is something you could do to make money. Is how it feels, and it's like you didn't really expect that, and maybe you didn't even really want it, but it's coming and it's here, and it's like, okay, I can't ignore that. Like, I could have this other source of income through this, whatever this is that people are kind of recognizing you for, and people are kind of wanting from you, and it feels really unexpected. And again, like, maybe you didn't even want that, but God has had other plans for you. The universe has other plans for you, and they're really showing you that. So embrace it. And yeah, that's the week for you, Cancer. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Okay, Leo Rising, we start the week off with the moon in your first house. You might be feeling more sensitive, more yourself at the beginning of the week, as I think we talked about last week for your horoscope. The end of today and on Monday, May 5th, you're going to be really feeling yourself a lot more. And that might cause you to really shift your belief system and your perspectives of life in terms of like how you're moving through life and what you're doing, in terms of like sharing yourself or being seen by others. Then later in the day on Monday and into Tuesday, the moon is moving through your second house. So you might be focused on money as it relates to that. Like, are you showing up and making money in the ways that you want to be or not? There might be a big release around that on Wednesday as the moon moves over your south node, or the moon moves over the south node in your second house. There could be some release of an old form of income that you were clinging on to because it worked for you before, but it's not working anymore. And you need to like let it go in order to have space for something new to come in. So that could come to a head on Wednesday. And then you might integrate that as we move on with the week, especially on Thursday and Friday, as the moon is moving through Libra in your third house and it's opposing everything that's in Aries in your ninth house. There could be this really big shift in communication, and belief systems and mindset that's related to all the things that came up earlier in the week. And you're really starting to see life differently because of this. Could also feel like you're literally living a new life because of this, which is a strange thing I find myself saying, but that's what it feels for you, Leo. Again, could come to a head as we get into the weekend, Friday and Saturday. Then later in the day on Saturday, the moon will move into your fourth house and Mercury moves into your 10th house. So you might be feeling more expressive about whatever this new thing is in your career. You might be feeling like, okay, it's the time to share, but there could be friction or tension around that later in the day on Saturday and into Sunday as the moon moves into Scorpio in your fourth house and opposes Mercury and Taurus and squares everything else in fixed signs. There could be like some friction, some tension that maybe like it's a good thing in the long term, but in the moment it feels very uncomfortable and it's like, oh my God, why is this happening? But you get the hindsight afterwards of like, oh, that's why that happened. That's why I was challenged in that way. That's why there was tension around this, because I was meant to do it differently. So yeah, that's the week for you, Leo. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I will see you next week. Virgo rising, we start the week off with the moon in your first house. So you could be feeling more sensitive. You could be feeling more like emotionally focused on you and what you need versus like what's going on in your external life. There could be some big release of an old identity or something that really just wasn't serving you about your appearance, your sense of self, your just how you're viewing yourself on Wednesday. And there could be something before that that happens in your finances or in your resources that you maybe share with other people or what have you, that kind of propels you into this shift around your identity. Like if it's, related to money, you may be seeing yourself as someone who makes a lot of money doing what you do, or someone who's already successful in what you're doing, even if you don't see the physical results of that. It's like really embodying this version of yourself that you're already stepping into before you have the physical proof that you stepped into it, if that makes sense. Yeah, Wednesday, it feels like there's a big kind of come to Jesus moment around all of that. And I think it's very synchronistic that the light is coming out again on me as I'm saying this. Can't help but notice that. Then on Thursday, the moon moves into your second house. So again, you could really be focused on integrating those things that came up around money and really shifting things in a way that feels more expansive, in a way that feels more abundant, in a way that feels more just better for your relationships maybe too, and as well as your own independence and balancing the two. That could also come to a really big head on Friday or early on Saturday as the moon opposes Mercury and Chiron. That's really causing the majority of what's going on with your healing in terms of resources and money is the Mercury Chiron conjunction in your 8th house. Really big themes of healing your beliefs, your mindset around how you're viewing money, and getting to receive it as well in your life. There's big career expansion for you, Virgo, and there might be some harmony around that later in the day on Friday too. Then on Saturday, the moon moves into your 3rd house, and you've really, as Mercury moves into Taurus in your 9th house, you've really felt the push. It's almost like you can't ignore this need to shift your mindset or your perception of life around things, especially as it relates to money. These are the money signs, Taurus and Scorpio. So there could be some really big just push, friction, tension that propels you to evolve how you're viewing things, how you're thinking about things, how you're talking about things, maybe even too, in terms of all of that. And then, yeah, that feels like the really major theme for the weekend for you, Virgo. It feels like just really remembering your potential when it comes to having your success. So that's what I have for you. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, Virgo, and I will see you next week. Okay, Libra Rising. We start the week off with the moon in your 12th house. So this could be a really reflective time for you, a time where you're really going within to see maybe what is there to be released in your mindset or in your mental health, and how you can prioritize that through journaling, through meditation, through doing things that really allow you to take care of your health in all the ways that you need to. That's going to be a really big focus of the start of the week, Libra, is like, what do you need to take care of your mental health and really feel at peace with yourself and your life, and the foundations of yourself and your life. Tuesday, there could be some conversation that triggers some things through another person as Mercury conjoins Chiron in your 7th house. There could be something that maybe, again, triggers a wound that ultimately ends up healing you from something you maybe didn't realize was there in the first place. And then a big release in your mindset maybe related to that on Wednesday as the moon moves over the south node in Virgo in your 12th house. It could be too of like a balancing act between, again, your mental and physical health, and being like, okay, I really need to prioritize these things because that's what allows me to feel good, supported, and just better about everything, my life and your life included. Then the moon moves into your 1st house on Thursday. So you could be just feeling more sensitive, more emotionally focused on yourself and integrating everything that came up earlier in the week and how you're choosing to move forward with it, integrating it and embodying it as part of your identity, as part of your sense of self. There could be some friction through other people or relationships too that prompt that propel that, need to really be firm in your boundaries kind of thing. That amplifies on Friday and early into Saturday as the moon is opposite the Mercury Chiron conjunction. But on Saturday, as the moon moves into your 2nd house, Mercury moves into your 8th house. So there could be some positive shifts around money related to that. Related to that new identity that you are really being firm and decisive about stepping into, and embodying the changes that maybe life is showing you are needed to make there. And then it feels like there could be friction, there could be tension between someone in your community or social media or a friend, that propels you into a new form of money or propels you into just seeing resources or money differently. Might even be related to a creative project or pursuit that you really need to just step into and really like share with the world. And it feels like this is a big, big, big new beginning for you, not only in terms of your identity, but also in terms of money and your relationship with like how things work for you in general. So that is the week for you, Libra. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I will see you next week. Okay, Scorpio Rising. We start the week off with the moon in your 11th house. So you could be focused earlier in the week on your community, social media, your relationships, your friends, and really just like focused on maybe making some release there as it's needed, especially on Tuesday and Wednesday. It could be related to what you're doing for work or what you're doing on a daily basis, or like needing to release a mindset around how you're showing up for your community or on social media, needing to really like just like focus on healing anything there, changing the way that you're viewing everything as it relates to that. There could be some big emotional shift, some big mindset shift that happens, especially, I think I already said this on Wednesday, related to that. That really is like propels you into a new direction, that propels you into something that's more aligned with your long-term goals and visions for yourself. This time is really about taking action on your career, Scorpio, as much as it might trigger identity things or self-worth things. It's really about taking the action because it is healing you and is propelling you into a new life that is ultimately going to be better for you in the long run. On Thursday, the moon moves into your 12th house. So you could again be focused on, okay, what am I doing to help my mental health, to support it? That also aligns with how I can support my physical health and my career and what I'm doing for work. There could be a big release emotionally, a big emotional release around that on Friday, as the moon is opposite Mercury and Chiron. And then on Saturday, the moon moves into your first house as Mercury moves into your 7th house. So you could be really stepping into emotionally some new identity that may be related to support you have from other people or a community, that really pushes you to prioritize what you're doing in your career and prioritize this new life that you're building and that you're creating. So that feels like the big focus of the weekend is like just doing everything that you know you need, your intuition has been telling you need to step into this new life, and not being afraid to leave the old life behind in a lot of ways, because the new life has so many amazing things for you that you're not even going to miss what was before, and it's going to feel like a completely different life altogether once you're really stepping into the new. So that's what I have for you, Scorpio. Let me know how that resonates, and I'll see you next week. Okay, Sagittarius, we start the week off with the moon in your 10th house. So you could be really focused on organizing things in your career or moving forward with things in your career in a new way that's like aligned with your intuition. And that really has you to surrender the mind, has you to surrender maybe overthinking or perfectionist tendencies or anything like that in terms of what you're doing in your career. And you could just be laying a new foundation or organizing things in a different way that allows you to be able to do that. That might come to a head on Tuesday and Wednesday. There might be a big release in terms of your mindset towards your career, or maybe even what you're doing in your career. You could be stepping into something really new, and this is when the shift happens, and this is when it feels like it's all coming together. This could be related to some healing that's been happening in terms of your romantic life or your creative passions or pursuits. It feels like you're stepping into a new thing, and it's like asking you to heal things you didn't realize were there to heal or to look at, as it relates to this new thing. A lot of it is belief system related too, and you're gonna really realize that as we get into the end of the week. But on Thursday and Friday, the moon is moving into your 11th house, so you might be focused on like sharing this new thing on social media or just talking about it because you released like any perfectionism you had around it, you released any limiting beliefs you had around it. But that could also challenge more limiting beliefs. It could also challenge more emotional things to release as you're sharing. It's kind of like you're moving forward and you're like, oh, but this, and then you move forward again and be like, oh, but that. And then it's kind of like it all builds. It's all a part of it. So don't shy away from like what comes up and really looking at it, because it is a part of all of this coming together in the way that it's meant to for you. Then on Saturday, the moon moves into your 12th house and Mercury moves into your 6th house. So again, really focused on sharing this new thing, sharing on what you're doing for work, maybe even bringing in spirituality to it in some way, or reframing again some spiritual or subconscious belief that was there. that again, it's like you've taken 10 steps forward and then you realize like, oh, there's this thing I have to address. And then you take another step forward and there's like more to address. It feels like there's a big week. It's a big week for you, Sagittarius, of cleaning up the residual gunk around whatever this is. So you can move forward and have success with it like you know you're meant to, because your intuition has been telling you to do it. But it's like there's things to unpack, because maybe you've never done it before, or maybe you tried it before and it didn't work, and you're really having to unpack everything that's there underneath the surface of embarking on this thing. So that's the week ahead for you, Sagittarius. Let me know how that resonates, and I will see you next week. Okay, Capricorn Rising, we start the week off with the moon in your 8th house, and then it will move into your 9th house. So there could be a big transformation that's taking place for you earlier in the week. Maybe related to money, related to resources, related to belief systems that are wrapped all into that. Could come to a head on Tuesday with something you realize about your family or your conditioning that was passed down through your family as it relates to all that stuff, and how those things are not serving you on this new beginning that is loading for you right now, that you're stepping into. That could also come to a head on Wednesday. I mean, it feels like the beginning of this week, it's all kind of building, like you're realizing all these things. The buildup happens and the release could happen on Thursday or later in the day on Wednesday. As the moon moves over the south node in your 9th house, there could be a really big shift of how you're viewing things, how you're viewing life, really starting to see things from a new perspective and realizing like, oh, like I didn't know that stuff that was underneath the surface was still affecting me in such a big way. And because of that realization, you could be taking a lot of inspired action in your career on Thursday or Friday, as the moon is opposite all that's in the beginning of Aries in your 4th house. There could be some like emotional fogginess, and you taking the action, you do get clarity around whatever it is. That could also come to a head. All the healing you've been doing earlier in the week could come to a head, especially as it relates to what you're doing in your career, your public image. On Saturday, what you're really being known for, you're shifting, and it feels like this big expansion in terms of your work that benefits your career, related to all the healing that you were doing. Even if there's still friction or tension around that healing, it's like you're doing the things you need to be doing. So just trust that it's all coming together, even if it doesn't physically look like it yet. Then on Sunday, later in the day on Saturday and into Sunday, the moon moves into Scorpio in your 11th house as Mercury and Taurus moves into your 5th house. So again, you're really sharing these creative things. You're really sharing this passion, this new thing that has emerged, and you're sharing it with your community, your world, your social media, like your friends, and you're putting it out there into the world. And there might be some conflict or challenge, but it does propel you into an evolution, and it is going to benefit whatever you're doing in some way, even if it feels hard in the moment. I feel like it could really bring you in a lot of long-term financial success too, even if there feels like there's more tension than there is ease with it in the beginning. You know, things are always hard when we start, but we keep going and we see the payoffs and the long-term rewards. That's Saturn energy, Capricorn. It's your energy. So embrace that is happening for you as you just keep building and you keep going. So that's the week for you, Capricorn. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Okay, Aquarius Rising. We start the week off with the moon in your 7th house. There could be some relationship stuff that comes up that you realize needs to shift or needs to transform, it needs to heal. And then on Tuesday, later on Monday and into Tuesday, the moon is now in your 8th house. So you could be focused on your resources, your money, your finances, maybe organizing it in a new way, a better way that feels more aligned with you. Maybe beginning new things in money and starting to just like see it differently and having a big mindset shift around it. That could come to a head on Wednesday, as Mercury and Chiron are both in your 3rd house of beliefs, of communication, of mindset. You might even be realizing that you are like really shifting how you're viewing life altogether, and it's related to and benefiting your money in some way. And maybe what you've been stepping into in your career, that could also come to a head as we get on later in the week. But Thursday and Friday, it's also a big realization about your philosophies of life, your mindsets, your belief systems, your communication styles, how that is all playing in together for you to create your reality. You're having big breakthroughs and shifts around all of that Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Then later in the day on Saturday, the moon moves into your 10th house as Mercury moves into your 4th house. There could be some tension with your home life, your career, related to an identity shift and related to your relationships. It feels like there's challenges and frictions in all those areas, but there will be breakthroughs and evolutions that are positive that come from those things for you. And it might be related to something new, like I said, that you're starting or you're sharing in your career. So just stick with it and you will see the positive long-term results of it. So that's the week ahead for you, Aquarius. Let me know how that resonates, and I'll see you next week. All right, Pisces. We start the week off with the moon in your 6th house. You could be really, really busy and feel like things will never slow down. Pisces, like, why is everything all coming all at once, all right now? Is how we start the week off for you. It feels like there could be some relationship shifts that happen on Tuesday and Wednesday related to maybe your finances or your money, or just people that are in your life. You feel like they might be draining your energy in ways that don't really resonate with you anymore, that don't support the person you've become or that you are becoming. So you're shifting those things, you're reorganizing your relationships, and that's affecting your money and some major ways. There's a really big focus on your routine as well, and just kind of what you're doing like your habits and your mindset that is tied into all of those things. Then on Thursday, the moon moves into your 8th house, again, putting focus on your money, your resources, what you're doing with it, the people that around you have that are supporting it or not, draining your energy and therefore draining your finances. That could be a big focus. There could be some really big shift on Thursday and Friday from in an emotional way around all of that. And then later in the day on Friday as well, and into maybe Saturday morning. And then on Saturday, Mercury is going to move into your 3rd house as the moon moves into your 9th house. That will happen later in the day on Saturday and into Sunday. There's maybe some tension between your mindset and how you're communicating things, and again, your daily kind of habits and routines, and how that's playing into your philosophies of life and creating your reality. There's really, really big shifts happening with all of that, that you're realizing you need to make maybe some drastic changes and really be consistent with those changes to see the results that are ultimately going to really benefit you in a lot of ways. And maybe how you need to be a little bit more firm or more dedicated to those shifts and to those changes, and having practices that help you to do so. So that's the week ahead for you, Pisces. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I will see you next week. All right, love you all. I'll see you next week or in the next video. Bye.